Peace and blessings all. I pray all is well. Brother Sadak coming with a midweek class. The topic for the midweek discussion is embrace your calling. Embrace your calling. It's your calling. It's not your mama's. It's not your cousin's. It's not your children's. It's yours. Embrace it, live in it, and love it. There are people that will abuse their calling. You can't let that be you. The only thing you and I can do is be examples as to who we are required to be. So I want to go ahead and hit this topic because I'm not going to keep you long. Pray that all has been well. Pray the Most High has been blessing you and your households in the spirit of peace. Let me see if I can share this really quickly. Wow. Let's see. Okay, the topic: embrace your calling. Grab hold of your calling. Squeeze your calling. Cling to your calling because your life is at stake. Let's be mindful of the sister that anointed the Christ head with all the Messiah said wherever his gospel come out, a remembrance or memorial of that sister that anointed his head and prepared him for his burial must also come out. The scriptures say we have to bring out a remembrance of her, and that's what we're required to do. So that's what I'm going to do. All right, so I want to go ahead and get started here. Starting at the book of Ecclesiasticus, chapter 41 and verse 12. Ecclesiasticus or Sirach 41 and verse 12, it says, have regard to thy name, for that shall continue with thee above 1,000 great treasures of gold. Have respect for your name and make sure that the things that you're doing will be respectable to the point where people will have respect for your name. You got to have respect for your own self first before you can ever think that people are just going to give it to you. If we're not respecting ourselves, then how can we expect anybody else to? You are just doing any old thing and not having care about your the way you're perceived to be. How can any of us really expect people to look at us and have any type of high regard for us whatsoever? I mean, let's go back and take it back to the world, when the things we were doing in the world and the ways we were living in the world and everything that was required of us in the world, and how we did our best to put on a good show for the world. And in us putting on a good show for the world, the people in the world did what? Turned around and loved us the way that the world would love us. And now we're not seeking the love of the world, we're seeking the love that comes from and through the word, and there's only one way to get it. And that one way is by us following after thus saith the Most High. And so the book tells us exactly what to do and how to do it. We just got to follow through. Let me read that again. Ecclesiasticus chapter 41 and verse 12, it says, have regard for thy name, for that shall continue with thee above 1,000 great treasures of gold. You can think of anybody. I got a name. I got a name some people know, depending on how old they are. When Colin Powell retired from the military, that man could have very well, if he wanted to, could have ran for president of the United States. Well, if won, that's not up to me. But he did, well, let me back up before that. Before he come out talking about, I got the proof right here in my hand. That man could have very well ran for any public office that he wanted to, and he probably could have won And now that he's dead and gone, and let's say 20 years from now, people are going to want to know what actually happened. I know a lot of this information is lies. I know some of this stuff is, more of it is declassified now. So let me go in and see. They already proved that the man lied. They already have proved that that man didn't have any proof whatsoever. They've proven it. And what's happening? Even while he is dead, people are cussing him and cussing his name and his legacy, because the thing that sticks out in their mind the most is the fact that he was the one that carried the water. He was the one that went out there and told that lie and got so many people killed, so many people hurt, so many people, so many children wounded, and so on and so forth. He was the one that did. And all he could lean to when he did it was, I'm just following orders. You following orders? Who you following orders from? You following orders from the Lord, or you following orders from the world? The man was following orders from the world. Easily could have said, hey, look, I'm gonna have to back up out of this one. You know, I got 30 years. I'm retiring. I can't do this. But did he do that? No, of course not. Of course not, because he didn't care. He didn't have regard for his name. We got to be thinking more of long term as opposed to what's going on right now. Because if we're so concerned on what's going on right now, we'll get caught up in what's happening right now. Hold 1 second, please. We'll get so caught up in what's happening right now. And we won't be thinking about, well, there's a situation where in time, I might put myself in a position where I won't be able to be trustworthy in the eyes of anybody. Nobody will believe me because of this situation right here. Nobody will want to deal with me because of this situation right here. No one will have respect for me because of this situation right here. I mean, think about somebody with a bunch of money, somebody like Elon Musk. Ain't nobody with any honor is going to Elon Musk or Donald Trump or Bill Gates or any of those people to do business and actually going to believe that those people are going to be 100% truthful with them. Why? Because their names is mud. Their names are mud. And their names are going to be mud. It doesn't matter what they can do. It's nothing that's going to be able to change that because of the way that they have handled themselves in the past and the way that they continue to handle themselves right now, and all the things that people know about them right now. It doesn't matter what they do in the future. If one of them repents, somebody, just like with Paul, remember, after Paul repented, there was still some people, wait a minute, there was still people whispering. And Paul had to address that. But see, this is because this is spiritual and that is carnal. Those are two separate situations. So we must have regard for our name above and beyond anything else. Reading on, it says, a good life hath but a few days, but a good name endureth forever. We're reading about Susanna. We're reading about Joseph. We're reading about the Christ. We're reading about Elijah, Elisha, so on and so forth. They didn't live but a few years. We are all granted here a few years. And it's what matters is what we do in the course of those few years. That's the only thing that matters. Nothing else does. If we have a situation where we compromise our own integrity, I speak about it all the time. You run into brothers that will scream to the rooftops about how much they see it, how much they're going to live it, how much they've always known something was wrong, and so on and so forth. All this stuff, and turn right around after just a little while and go right back to it and go right back to some more. All this stuff that they were talking about, all this stuff that they were saying, all these times that they were saying, well, hey, you know what? I should have been done this. I should have been done that. All these times, those people were compelled to act in a manner such as that. And what did they do? They decided to go ahead and take it on, right? They took it on. And so after a little while, they got tired. And after they got tired, the truth came back out, which was there was no endurance there. There was no endurance there at all. They were just there for a season. Some brothers will make their way back. Some won't. Some have blasphemed the word. And what they have waiting for them is torments. Hold one second, please. Some only have torments waiting for them, and that's all they're going to get because that is their lot. Everybody's going to get a lot. What matters is what lot you want. Now, we can all say, but if we don't have the actions to prove it, it means absolutely nothing. It's nothing more than empty talk and rhetoric. So let me read this again, and I'm moving forward. I'm reading from the book of Ecclesiasticus, chapter 41. And verse 12 again says, have regard for thy name, for that shall continue with thee above 1,000 great treasures of gold. A good life hath but a few days, but a good name endureth forever. My children, keep discipline in peace. Too many people will not keep discipline in peace. You say that you're about the word, but every day you're going out to try to find somebody to combat with the word of the Most High. Every day you're going out on a mission looking for somebody to try to make change. That's not what this is. All this is you living your life and being a worthy, notable example of how we're supposed to live our lives after we have said that we have changed. That's what is supposed to happen. It's not up to me. It's not up to you. It's not up to anybody else to make anybody or try to force anyone to do anything. But some of us will. Even when it comes down to doctrines, if people don't see what you see, it is what it is. Who are you to argue with them? I said it before. I said it 1,000 times. I had brothers would hit me up asking me about different stuff. Only reason they were looking for something in the scriptures is so that they could go back and forth with somebody else. That's not what it's about. That's not what it's for. But that is what some of these people do and have done. Reading on. Verse 14 again, and I'm reading Ecclesiasticus 41:14. It says, my children, keep discipline in peace, for wisdom that is hid, and a treasure that is not seen. What profit is in them both? What profit is there anything gained in that? If you have knowledge of, you at a car dealership and you know that from your own personal experience that this person is talking to this other person trying to make a sale is trying to get over on them, but you don't say anything. That's not my business, so I ain't worried about it. So what good is it for you to know? What good is it for you to have the experience? Nothing. Nothing. Let me read that again. It says, my children, keep discipline in peace, for wisdom that is hid and a treasure that is not seen. What profit is in them both? It's good if you can hide your foolishness. It's good if you can hide your foolishness. It is. Because you read 15, it says, a man that hideth his foolishness is better than a man that hideth his wisdom. Not everybody going to be able to do that. Some people not going to be able to help themselves. Some people will not be able to help themselves. I want Proverbs 22 and verse 1 now. I want Proverbs 22 and verse 1 now. You have all this understanding and you do nothing with it. Brothers are going to die sitting in congregations parakeeting things that they don't even believe. The Lord has raised them up from what these people are teaching, and they sit there anyway because they have no faith. They truly believe that and have bought into the concept of, if I leave out of here and I'm not amongst these people, I'll be back amongst the congregation of the dead. You're already wandering amongst the congregation of the dead. What are you talking about? But it all goes into having faith. And if your faith is small, it's going to show during the day of your trials. Proverbs 22 and verse 1. It says, a good name is rather to be chosen than great riches, and loving favor rather than silver and gold. Who's the love and favor going to come from? The Most High. What is that going to do? Open up so many doors and avenues for you to see and get the understanding of different things, even if it's the smallest things. And that's one milestone for some people. The smallest, the least commandments that some people can easily see are fortified cities for others because they can't see it. I don't see the importance of putting a ribbon and fringes on a shirt or a dress. Some people say that. I don't really see the importance of my fringes on my heart. Some people say that. But what did the word say is the question. That is a vice to some people all on its own, something so simple. And I could call it simple to me because that's a commandment that's not grievous for me. But that will be grievous for some people because some people just won't see the importance of it. And I hate that for them. Again, where is it said here, the favor, the loving favor, where is it going to come from? The Most High. Why? Because of obedience. Doesn't the Bible always say in just about every place you have read, I have read, that our obedience trumps everything else? At least that's what it says. I mean, obedience is better than anything else. Us doing what we are told to do is better than anything else. And in that, it says a good name. That's where we will receive the good name from. Well, I've never met so-and-so. You know, we talked online or whatever the case may be. This is a hypothetical because it happens all the time. I've never met brother so-and-so. I've never met sister so-and-so. But just talking with her and, just conversing with him, that brother, that sister have a great, wonderful spirit about them. The Lord is truly moving that person in this way or that way. And it's seen because of the way that they handle themselves, of the way other brothers and sisters have talked about them. I've never met them personally, but I remember talking to brother so-and-so, and he said when he met that brother and fellowship with him, or whatever the case may be, that brother was genuine, just like he is or she is in any and every other situation that I ran up on them about. And that's when the rapport starts to come, and that's when our nation can grow and build together. Because again, if you don't believe somebody is genuine with you, are you more willing or less willing to go into business with them, or more or less willing to help them with something if it's a financial situation or whatever the case may be? They may be just trying to get over. That's what you may be thinking. I would. It looks like they need some help. It looks like they do, but I really don't know. I mean, I don't know. I can say for surety, when my house flooded, were we out of the house? Or I think we were out of the house. And the very next day, that same night when we were here, I got a text message from a brother, from an elder that's in St. Louis, of encouragement. And hey, we will do everything that we can to help, brother. All praise to the Most High. We're here to help, blah, blah, blah. And I thanked him. We talked afterward. We talked afterwards, and it went from there. Never laid eyes on him personally. But because of the way that you deal with people, the way that you handle yourself, the good name that you put out there, the calling that you have embraced, people will glean to you. People will come to you, and people will do whatever it is they can to go to the ends of the earth to help you. But if, you have that other reputation, then hey, they'll just say a prayer for you. And some prayers will just come out of the person's mouth and hit the ground. It is what it is. I'm going to read this one more time and I'll move forward. It says, a good name is rather to be chosen than great riches, and loving favor rather than silver and gold. Too many of us want silver and gold, but don't care to receive the loving favor from the Most High. Too many of us want money and tangible things and could care less truly about how the Most High feels about us. You can believe that integrity doesn't mean that much, but integrity is what get a lot of people in a lot of different places that some will never be able to see, because solely on the strength of she 100. Everybody that I talk to that know them, hey, they the same person every time. You're not going to get that wavering from them. If something wrong, they're going to let you know. If something is right, hey, they're going to just call it for what it is. If they're wrong, they're going to admit they're wrong. And so your reputation is better, and it will take you and me a lot further than any amount of money ever can, or any material wealth ever will. Let's go to the history of Susanna. We're going to start at verse 31. The history of Susanna, in the Apocrypha. History of Susanna. So, these two elders that lusted after this woman that was an upright Israelite woman, a righteous upright Israelite woman who had parents that were righteous and upright, and had a husband that was of a great reputation, had two elders that lusted after her and lied on her. People will lie on you. People will try to cheat and abuse you. People will throw all type of dirt on your name. The thing is, how are you going to respond? The history of Susanna, I'm going to start reading at verse 31. History of Susanna, 31. It says, so she came with her father and mother, her children, and all her kindred. Now Susanna was a very delicate woman and beauteous to behold. She was real pretty, and she was like, very feminine and non-masculine, and had an air about herself that was a lady, an upright Israelite woman. Let's think of Judith. Reading on. Verse 32. And these wicked men commanded to uncover her face, for she was covered, that they might be filled with her beauty. Even after they done lied on her, they still lusting after her, and they want to see how pretty she was. They already knew she was raised up around them. They already knew how pretty she was and how beautiful she was. They wanted to see her face again, even though they had them lied on her. Reading on. Verse 33. Therefore her friends and all that saw her wept. Then the two elders stood up in the midst of the people and laid their hands upon her head. And she, weeping, looked up toward heaven, for her heart trusted in the Lord. That is the kicker. You can say you trust in the Most High. I can say I believe when the book tells me what believing is. And I will go and say, oh, no, I don't think we got to do all of that. The book gives you the definition and tell you exactly what you're doing if you're either in or out of bounds. And we will go and do our own thing. We will do a diligent search to be able to continue to do something and to be able to walk as we will. even though it's outside of the bounds of the commandments, and will still do it anyway. And say, I believe, and say, I have no sin, and say, I'm doing everything I can in my power to keep the commandments. I'm doing everything in my power to love my neighbors. I love myself. And I'm nothing but the devil. Reading on. Verse 35 again. And she weeping looked up toward heaven, for her heart trusted in the Lord. And the elder said, as we walked in the garden alone, this woman came in with 2 maids and shut the garden doors and sent the maids away. Then a young man who there was hid, came unto her and lay with her. Then we that stood in a corner of the garden, seeing this wickedness, ran unto them. How come when all of this was starting to happen, why y'all ain't go there? Hey, y'all cut down. So why did you wait? Why did you wait and let them see the lies unfolding itself? But again, like I said, people will lie on you. And she ain't here hollering and cussing and carrying on. She ain't got out of the spirit of the Lord. No, she just asked the Lord to take care of her because she know what is being said is lies. She's not retaliating. What is this? Embrace your calling. Reading on. Then we that stood in a corner of the garden, seeing this wickedness, ran unto them. And when we saw them together, the man we could not hold, for he was stronger than we, and opened the door and leaped out. But having taken this woman, we asked who the young man was. But she would not tell us. These things we do testify. This what we got. This what happened, and this what we say. And there's no lie here. This is what we say happened. I swear. Then the assembly believed them. Why? Why? I mean, everybody know this woman. Everybody know this woman's reputation. But the problem was respect of persons. Just like some will die, some are going to die the second death because they have respect of persons for their group leaders, their pastors, their preachers, their reverends, their elders, their bishops, and so on and so forth. And everybody else that's in the middle of all of that. I was just following orders. You're going to die because of that. Reading on. Then the assembly, and we're at verse 41, the assembly believed them as those that were the elders and judges of the people. So they condemned her to death. They said, kill her, stone her. We're going to kill her. Then Susanna cried with a loud voice and said, O everlasting God that knowest the secrets and knowest all things before they be. Thou knowest that they have borne false witness against me. God know you. She was praying to the Most High and she said, you know they lying on me. She ain't said nothing to them. She didn't jump up cussing at them. She didn't do any of that. She didn't have to. She had his ear. How did she get his ear? Because she did what he said. In doing as he say, the book says, I'm going to hear you. If you don't do what I say, who going to hear you? Who can hear you? For what? Why would I waste my time listening to you? I know you're a liar. Reading on. Verse 43 again. Thou knowest that they have borne false witness against me, and behold, I must die. Whereas I never did such things as these men have maliciously invented against me. And the Lord heard a voice. I just said that. Therefore, when she was led to be put to death, the Lord raised up the Holy Spirit of a young man, whose name was Daniel, who cried with a loud voice, I am clear from the blood of this woman. Hey, y'all can do whatever y'all want to. I ain't got nothing to do with this. That woman's blood will not be on my hands. I don't have anything to do with this. You got all these people walking, and they listen to these lust-filled Negroes, these lust-filled elders at that. Lie, and some of them believe that it was a lie. Some of them do. Let's be for real. But because of who it was. Just like with some of the doctrines. Some of the people believe that the doctrines aren't true, but because of who's saying it, it doesn't matter. Reading on. No, that's as far as I want to go. people were allowing you. And what happened? Daniel wound up saying, well, look, since they're going to turn it around on him, well, so since you know so much, young man, come on up here, young man, and tell us since God gave you so much wisdom so you can show us. And because the Most High had put his spirit on Daniel to show those elders to be liars, they wind up dying. See, this is what happened when you embrace your calling. You embrace your calling, the Most High will make a way out of no way, and your enemies will become your footstool. Let's go to the book of Proverbs chapter 2. Proverbs chapter 2 and verse 1. Proverbs chapter 2 and verse 1. It says, my son, if there's always the stipulation always exists. If thou will receive my words, if you do what you're told to do, and hide my commandments with thee, so that thou incline thine ear unto wisdom, and apply thine heart to understanding. So let's be honest. When we first hear about this, when we first hear about the word of the Most High without the muck and the mire that Christianity and all that other stuff brings, it's like a refreshing glass of water, sparkling glass of water, unfiltered, without any impurities in it whatsoever. And the first thing we want to do is we want to tell everybody else. The problem with that is we should sit down and learn first and know what to say and know what not to say. And then through our actions, give answer. And through our actions, be the example. But what some of us do is we put the cart before the horse and we want to try to tell everybody. And now you got somebody sitting in front of you that's in your family that has been in a Baptist church for 40, 50 years. We're trying to explain something to them that we don't really fully understand yet. And we'll never fully understand it until the time comes for all things to be made new and the things that are mysteries be made plain. And I'm not talking about from the mouth of some word. I'm talking about when the Messiah returns and gives the understanding of it all. Verse 3, yea, if thou criest after knowledge and liftest up thy voice for understanding. If you go all out for the word, if you don't have any reservations, if you don't have any secret wants or desires to want to go back to it and want to relive something for a few minutes or whatever the case may be, and just go after the word and seek the word. If thou seekest her as silver and searchest for her as for hid treasures, then shalt thou understand the fear of the Lord and find the knowledge of God. Only then will we truly get the understanding of how to live, of how to be, of how to operate, of what true love is and what love and what hate also is. And we'll find out what discernment is, because we can be just like children at a time. We met somebody, had a great conversation, and assumed that, hey, you know what? This is my friend now. I can call on this brother. This is a good brother. You don't really know that person like that. That thing hadn't been tried. You don't know what's going to happen when that person, when adversity shows up. You don't know how that person is going to respond. And so, all things has to be done just the way this book says that it has to be, because if it's not, then it's going to be out of order. And if anything is out of order, then it's going to be done the way I want it to be done. And if it's being done my way, my will is here, not the Most High's. And if that's the case, then I won't be seeking her as silver and searching for her as a hid treasure. Think about it. If you go somewhere and you get a permit and a license to go and dig in the ground for gold or oil or something like that, and you find a little bit, And the next thing you know, you're consumed with it. Not to the point where that's all you think about, but you're consumed with it enough to say, you know what? I found some and now I'm going to find some more. And the next thing you know, you get consumed with it. And that's all you're thinking about. If that is all we're thinking about right here, where it says in verse 4, if thou seekest her as silver and searchest for her as for hid treasure, then thou shalt understand the fear of the Lord and find the knowledge of God. That will be the only way. A lot of people assume that they can sit in these different classes of these people, these men, and these men are going to lead them to the gates. When some of these men are nothing more than Pied Pipers, is leading them straight to the gates of Hades. And some will never see it because they're not seeking for the word in its purest form. They're seeking for the word in a form that's comfortable to them. If you don't come outside of your comfortability, then how can you truly grow? You think about the people that have went on and became great in whatever aspect. Say, for example, like when Terrell Owens had, I think, tore his Achilles. And the next thing you know, this man rehabbed back so much and rehabbed so hard and everything like that because he was a competitor to the point where he was actually a better athlete than he was before he tore it. He went to distances that he could never push his body again, just to try to prove to himself that he could be great again, even after an injury. If we sit down, take the time to get the understanding and grow and build from that, we can look back and see where we were when we believed that Santa Claus is okay to tell children. We can look back and see where we were when Christmas was okay to tell children. To have a Christmas tree in the house was okay, and to have Mother's Day and Father's Day and Easter ham and all was fine. And let's not forget about getting up, going, doing the things that we love to go do on Saturday. That was fine. See, once we grow and build from that and understand and know those things were not fine. Those things were, what does the Bible call them? Vices that had us in a grip. And we had to break the chains. And now that we understand better, we're supposed to know better and show better. You don't get to go back and rehash this stuff just because you missed something once. I'm going to go over there and do it just this one time. Once you know, there's no I'm going back doing this one time. You either all in or you all out. Wisdom of Solomon, chapter 9 and verse 1. I'm almost done. Wisdom of Solomon, chapter 9 and verse 1. Let's see. Wisdom of Solomon, chapter 9, verse 1. And Solomon was a young man when he went to the Most High and asked for his help. Wisdom of Solomon, chapter 9, verse 1 says, O God of my fathers and Lord of mercy, who has made all things with thy word. So again, the word of the Most High created everything. And ordained man through his wisdom that he should have dominion over the creatures which thou hast made, and order the world according to equity and righteousness, and execute judgment with an upright heart. That's what's supposed to happen. See, when the righteous, the Bible says, as the judge of the city is, so is his officers. So, if the judge is a righteous man, then the people that are working for him and under him are also going to have to be upright, because they know if they have to come before him, they can't come with no mess. You ain't coming here lying up. Like, let's be for real. We all understand that the so-called justice system is a farce because the judges are corrupt, the lawyers are corrupt, the police corrupt, the DA corrupt, the senators that make the laws are corrupt, and so on and so forth. And so what happens when somebody that's innocent, me and somebody was talking about this just the other day, of how many innocent people could we truly think or even guess that are in prison or have been in prison and died in prison for absolutely nothing. They did nothing. They just didn't have the resources, to be able to defend themselves. And so here they go. And so if you bring these people before corrupt people, what do you, in a corrupt system, what do you think is going to happen? They're going to reap all of all of the wicked benefit that comes from the wicked system. Everything that the system can throw at them is going to be thrown at them. And there will be nothing they can do to stop it. Reading on. This is what Solomon said. Give me wisdom that sitteth by thy throne, and reject me not from among thy children. For I, thy servant and son of thine handmaid, am a feeble person. So he's telling the Most High, I'm just a person. I'm just a person. That's all I am. Just like everybody else. I'm nothing more than a person. Me and my mama were number people. And of a short time. And I won't be here long. I'm not going to live any longer than anybody else. And too young for the understanding of judgment and laws. And I need you to help me with understanding your laws and your judgments. For though a man, why? For though a man be never so perfect among the children of men, yet if thy wisdom be not with him, he shall be nothing regarded. You can be the best person in the world that you want to be. You can be a good person according to the standards of the world. She's a good person. He's a good person. They'll go help the homeless. They will feed the homeless. They will go and help the needy and the sick and shut in and all of those things. They'll do all that. But when she goes to do it, she got pants on. When she take the food, it's got pork in it. When he goes to cut the elderly lady's grass, widow's grass, it's on the Sabbath. And he doesn't see anything wrong with it. And we can use so many different scenarios in this situation. But if it's not, I tell people all the time, if it's not being done the way the books say it has to be done, it means absolutely nothing. Why? Because everything that we have read so far tells us to have regard for the Most High, His word, our name, and our reputation. We have regard for all of that. If you just do the first, automatically the rest is going to fall in place. But if we don't have the desire to do the first, and we want to put the second or the third in front, it's going to be out of order. And there will be nothing when our day of judgment comes that's going to be for our favor or for our benefit. Because we didn't choose that. We chose another way of going about this. And so let's finish up. We're going to finish up in the book of Matthew chapter 13, verse 44. The book of Matthew 13, 44 to 48. Matthew 13 and verse 44 says, again, the kingdom of heaven is like unto treasure hid in a field, which when a man hath found, he hideth, and for joy thereof goeth and selleth all that he hath, and buyeth that field. So think about it. You have somebody that's out looking for some treasure, and they go out and they find it. They find a little something. You've seen, we've all seen these people with these metal detectors trying to find some precious metals or something, and they go and find something. And it's enough to spark their interest and their curiosity and say, you know what? I found enough right here that I need to go and sell everything I got. I've learned enough right here with why. For example, Deuteronomy 28. Deuteronomy 28 chapter and verse 32. Thy sons and thy daughters shall be given unto another people, and thine eyes shall look and fail with longing for them all the day long, and there shall be no might in thine hand. When I first heard that, that sounds like us. That can't be, no, that nobody have, that's our history. So continuing, the scriptures kept continuing. Verse 48. Therefore shalt thou serve thine enemies, which the Lord shall send against thee in hunger, and in thirst, and in nakedness, and in want of all things. And he shall put a yoke of iron upon thy neck until he have destroyed thee. Someone ignorantly said one time, a long time ago, that yoke of iron is talking about your house note. No, it's not talking about your house note. It's talking about a yoke. This is our history. Wait a minute. That happened to us. You go online and you type in yoke of iron, you're going to see the picture or image of somebody that looked like us with a yoke of iron on their neck, because that happened to us. And reading on and all of this stuff. I believe it's, is it Habakkuk or Malachi? I'm trying to remember. Bear with me one second. Bear with me one second. Haggai, I thought it was Haggai. Haggai 1:6. You planted a lot, but harvested little. The little bit you go get, it's gonna be just like when you get a little money. No longer than you gonna keep it. It's gonna be just like you put it in a bag with a hole in the bottom of it. That's us. That ain't nobody but us. Oh, you figure you're going to run from the word, and you ran in your house. You got away from the lion, and you ran from this and ran and put your hand up against the wall and got bit by a serpent. Golly, that's talking about us. That's what happened to me. So after I heard these things and heard this stuff and was compelled to change and make the necessary changes to show the Most High that I believe this and I'm going to live this thing. That's the way it had to work. That's the only way it's going to work. Reading on Matthew 13:44 again. That's just as far as his buried treasure goes. Again, the kingdom of heaven is like unto treasure hid in a field, in which when a man hath found, he hideth, and for joy thereof goeth and selleth all that he hath, and buyeth that field. What did you sell? What did I sell? Pornography. Masonry. Running with friends. Going to Bourbon Street on Friday night. Going to different places. Doing the things that I shouldn't have been doing and everything that goes with all of that. That's what I sold. We got to sell all that stuff that we don't need to have any dealings with. That's what we had to sell, because those things were near and dear to us in the world. Now they have to be regarded as nothing because of what we have come into the understanding of and how we're living now. Verse 45, it says, again, the kingdom of heaven is like unto a merchant man seeking goodly pearls, who when he had found one pearl of great price, went and sold all that he had and bought it. Everything that mattered before, means nothing now. Every single thing that mattered before means nothing now. The only thing that matters now is following what this book says and being a worthy example so that the other people can do exactly what the book says. What happens? Some people are going to scandalize your name. Some people are going to say all praise to the Most High. That's good for you. I'm not doing all that though. And a very small number of people will be compelled to see your changes and say, you know what? I am also convinced because of this person. If that person can make the necessary changes as they have, I can too. Verse 47, it says, again, the kingdom of heaven is like unto a net that was cast into the sea and gathered of every kind. This word was spoken to a lot of people. This word was uttered to the masses. And so many people said, I'm convinced the Lord hath washed me. I'm clean of all this and all that other foolishness. Which when it was full, they drew to shore and sat down and gathered the good into vessels, but cast the bad away. The word is going to decide who is what. If you embrace your calling, the only way that the good was seen and put into the vessels and the bad was cast away is because it was all levied against what the word had said. It wasn't levied against how I feel or what I think or how I want it to be or anything like that. It was all levied against, well, it says here, the book of Exodus, chapter 20, it says here in verse 8, remember the Sabbath day to keep holy. Some people, what would they say? My Sabbath every day. Jesus is my Sabbath. The Sabbath made for man and not man made for the Sabbath. And so many other things. But won't sit down not even one day out of the week and not cook and not buy and not sell and not do their pleasures and all of those things. But they'll still say that they are convinced. So let's just embrace our calling and make our calling sure. So with that, I pray that somebody has received something from this little Wednesday class. Peace.